Welcome. I think all of these contemplations stand on their own. So if you need to kind of pop in and out, no worries. This is contemplation. Welcome to everyone. This is contemplation number 2 of 9. And Atisha is our guide. Atisha being an 11th century Tibetan monk. And yesterday we talked about how all of us will die sooner or later. And today's contemplation is your lifespan is decreasing continuously. That's our contemplation. So I shared the link to this PDF in our circle, which is Yoga and Life Talk with Laura. So if you haven't joined our circle yet, you're welcome to. And you can find the link to it here, link to it in the circle, so that you can print this out and follow along with me if you'd like. And let's go ahead and get started, coming to the head of the mat. And a question for you. You know, I've mentioned to y'all yesterday, I'm 51 years old, which most of you know. And assuming that I'm going to live like another 50 years, which I think is pretty reasonable, right? And I was thinking about, us kind of winding down. Every moment we're heading closer and closer to our death. And what I was thinking is that, sorry, I'm looking like my head is cut off on the iPad. Maybe that's just because I look fine over there. My resting heart rate is 60 beats a minute. So if you had to guess how many seconds, or for me heartbeats, there are in 50 years, what would you guess? I know the answer. So if you want to throw it in there, I'll keep an eye on the iPad. Go ahead and just come and start doing an easy empty coat sleeves. A nice tap to the body, easy twist. Just gently waking up the body. A percussive tap. This is called Dan Tien drumming. It's really good for us. Okay, gently twisting. Did anybody throw any guesses in? Let's see here. Christine says 17,000 a day. A lot. Debbie says 17,000 a day. Christine says a lot. So if you run the math, it's 26,280,000 seconds in 50 years. Okay? Rooting the feet down. So for me, if I'm thinking about, okay, I've got 50 years left, inhale those arms up, reach up, lift up. Exhale, hands down the midline. That means this heart of mine, which my average resting heart rate is 60 beats a minute. So that means I've got 26,280,000 beats left on this heart. Hands come down. And beat by beat, as if there's a counter, inhaling those arms up, reach up. Each beat of my heart, each second that passes, brings me closer to the clock ticking down to 0. Okay? Inhale, reach up, stretch up, Urdhva Hastasana. Shoulders are down, palms face each other, grounding the feet. And then just swan dive forward. So I shared this yesterday, but I'll say it again. That it is really, really important for you to take care of yourself during these meditations, during these contemplations. If you feel like, this is hitting you in a tender spot, inhale, arch up halfway, flat back. Exhale, release. The invitation is for you, inhale, reach up, maybe turn the volume down. And just do yoga. Just watch me. Exhale, hands down the midline to the heart space. And just feel yourself. Just breathe into the body. Just allow yourself to just settle, and maybe you come back. You turn the volume back up again, or maybe not. Maybe you go into child's pose. Whatever your experience is, please take care of yourself. Okay? Inhale, arch up halfway, flat back, tailbone rises up. And head hangs heavy. Soften those knees. Soften those knees more. Really allow the belly to melt down on the thighs. So soften those knees as much as you need to. Maybe a gentle sway. And then let's straighten the right leg some and walk the hands towards the left. Breathing into the obliques on the right side. Breathing into that right lung. The intercostal muscles that enrobe the ribs. Another breath. And then soften that right knee. Both knees are soft now. Coming down, hang heavy. And now walk to the right and straighten that left leg. Bend the right knee and twist it to the right. Breathe into the left obliques, left intercostal muscles, and of course the hamstrings. And walk it through center and roll it up. Arms reach up, lift up. You know, as I was thinking about hands come down. We're cruising, right? We're cruising towards the end of our lives, coming up onto the balls of the feet. And we have no idea when that is. So I'm throwing out 50 years on the hope that I'll live a long, full life, but maybe not. And that's actually another contemplation, so I don't need to get ahead of myself. Hang down. Inhale, arch up halfway, flat back. So Joan Halifax writes, your lifespan, step that right leg back. Your lifespan lessens every moment that you live. Pour energy down that right leg, out the heel. Beautiful stretch. There is the moment of your birth and then the time of your death. Life flows for better or worse between these 2 points of change. Drop that knee down. Your movement towards death never stops. Every breath you take in and give out brings you closer to the destination that we call death. Set those hips back, toes stay down. Every word that you speak, every thought that you have brings you nearer to death. Every step that you take, exhale it back, toes rise up, brings you closer to your so-called final resting place. Breathing into the hamstrings on the left. And inhale forward, grabbing your block. Both hands come to the inside of the foot, so you can put your hand on block or blocks. Okay, we're coming into lizard pose. So with lizard pose, we're going to let that knee fall open, getting heavy onto the outer edge of the foot. So having your hands on your blocks in a way that serves you. You can also have your blocks kind of like this, like they're like a little equal sign, and then coming down onto the elbows, or not. Listen to the body. Breathe into that hip. Either hanging here or you can curl the back toes under, pouring energy down that right leg. Roll the head on the neck. And think about that fact that our lifespan is decreasing. Every day, a baby born, from moment to moment, still in diapers, that child's lifespan is decreasing, right? That's our truth. That's everyone's truth. Coming up onto the hands, if you were on the elbows, and then bring that left knee back to meet the right. Hands can stretch forward. Maybe hands are on the blocks if that feels good, giving a bit more height to your Anahatasana, your puppy dog stretch. Press the hands into the mat, into the blocks, opening the underarms. This is your better than a flu shot yoga. So good for the immune system. Stimulating the lymph nodes. Another breath. And come on up. You should get your flu shot. Walking those blocks out. Plug the hands in, curl the toes, lift the hips. Walk your dog out. Head hangs heavy, first down dog. Allowing the head to drop down. So when you think about your lifespan, breath by breath, moment by moment, heartbeat by heartbeat, decreasing, how does that land with you? Drop that right knee down, kickstand the knee out to the side, right hand goes right underneath the face, and lift up into your Vashisthasana. Now with me doing side plank, as you all know from those of you who practice with me, I typically do side plank with my knee down, making big circles with that top arm. I have a tendency to, when I do traditional side plank, I seem to tweak my muscles, my intercostals for some reason. So this is my expression of side plank. If you prefer traditional side plank, go for it. Breathing here with your side angle arm, really waterfall over, lifting that left hip up, feel the stretch, and then roll it down. Curl the toes, and tailbone rises up, head hangs heavy. Breathing here. In your down dog. Another breath. And then let's flip that right leg back. Right leg forward. Coming into your high runner's lunge, pouring energy down the left leg. So as you consider that your lifespan and that all living beings is ever decreasing, what comes up for you? What do you think of? Drop that knee. So just thinking here as this contemplation, just allow this contemplation to land with you. How does it feel? What comes to mind? You know, and I really like the image that Joan uses, setting those hips back, toes stay down on the right. As if our life is a thread. And, maybe it's like we can think of the thread almost like we're stitched into a tapestry, right? And we pop up with our birth, and then we cruise along, and then we pop down with our death, right? So we're cruising along that thread. Exhale it back, toes rise up. Heavy heel, breathe into those hamstrings. We're cruising along on that thread. And there's no backtracking. It's a one-directional thread. It's a one-directional thread. And there are things that we can do to make sure that our thread maybe is a little bit longer. We do have agency in this life that we're living. We did all that work on agency, right? Exhale it back. We can do things to extend our lifespan, but there's nothing that we can do to avoid death. No matter how much we lengthen our life, ultimately, our life will end. Going forward, and now we're coming into lizard on this side. So both hands to the left side of the foot. Maybe both hands on the blocks. Maybe you turn the blocks if you need more height. Listen to the body. What's the body saying to you, right? Shoulders are down. Getting into that hip. get heavy on the outer edge of the foot. Turning like so that like you even come off the mat a little bit on the arch, the inner part of the leg, as that knee falls out to the right. And then coming down onto the elbows if you like. Breathing here, just allowing this to land with you. What's coming to mind? And gently drawing yourself back if you went anywhere else. Your lifespan is ever decreasing. How does that land with you? Susan just said, it's like car mileage. The better we take care of our car, if we take good care of our bodies, our mileage increases as well. Yep, that's a good one, Susan. You know I love my analogies. Another breath here, and then walk the hands up. So this isn't in any way, these contemplations are not meant for us to feel like, well, that sucks. Right? Float those hips back, and then bring that knee back. Come back into your Anahatasana. You know, what we talked about yesterday, which is what continues, curl those toes under, coming into your puppy dog stretch. Maybe the hands are on the blocks or on the mat. Traction those hands down, opening the heart. The thing that continues to feel really powerful to me as we're working our way through these contemplations, and I'm doing these contemplations for the first time with y'all, so I'm very much a student. I am on this path with you. Hands come underneath the shoulders, and we're going to bring the left hand down because you're coming into Vashisthasana on this side. Left knee down, kickstand out. This helps you keep a nice steady base. And then the right leg comes back. And then we're lifting that right arm up, making big circles with the shoulders. So what we talked about yesterday, you know, about how so often people get to the end of their life, and that's when they take stock. That's when they look and they almost like do a priority check and they realize, oh man, I missed the mark. What I focused on wasn't what was most important. Right? Big circles with that arm. So these contemplations help us check in with the shape of our lives. Floating that arm over, palm down. You know, as Lion's Roar said, when we contemplate death, we can transform our life. So this is meant to be very life-centric. These contemplations, while some of them can be tremendously tender, coming down, rolling down, hands on the mat, come on up into your down dog. The hope is that when we start focusing on, yep, I've got the birth and I've got the death, let's make sure that life is as sweet as it can be in the in-between. Head hangs heavy. You know, as we chatted about yesterday, let's not use life as a waiting room. Glide forward. It's about making sure that our life is fully lived. Breathing here in our plank pose. And in Circle, Denise, I believe it was, shared a great video yesterday coming down onto the knees on Anahatasana, puppy dog stretch. Plug those hands in, and it was by One Republic, the song To Live. And float that leg, float that right leg up, stretch it up, reach it up, and step it forward, coming into your Vira 1. And the thing that was amazing about this video that she shared, beautiful open heart here in Vira 1, is it was about a young man, he looked like he was maybe a teenager, who was living with cystic fibrosis. And it talked about how His lifespan is likely to be shortened because of this chronic disease. Stepping off onto that right foot, arms reach back like airplane wings, hip is down. So he's really aware of his clock ticking, right? And he says, I want to have as much fun as I can in this life. And they go through, as the video is playing, showing him just doing all these things. ATVing, and water skiing, and riding his bike, all of these things. And I was thinking that, coming into our Bujangasana too, it's a great video, and it's a great story. But as I was looking, I was like, his life well lived is his life, right? What does our lives well lived look like? ATVing, I don't know if that's going to make my list, right? So if we have this limited number of heartbeats, this limited number of miles on our engine stretching forward, how are we going to use those moments? Breathing here in your Reclining. That's the contemplation, right? And Joan goes on to say, in light of your life's ever-decreasing span, what are you doing with this precious life now to live life fully and to support a sane and gentle death? A sane and gentle death. When we're on our deathbed, inhaling up, we look back on our life and we smile. And we're like, yeah, it was awesome. That's what I wish for all of us. Breathing here in your Vera too. And straighten that leg. And float it down. So we can watch this video about this young man, Brian, living with cystic fibrosis and how he's living his life fully. And we can be inspired to do something similar, but let's make sure that when we go out, that we're not like all of a sudden like ATVing and he was skateboarding and everything, unless that's your life, right? The inspiration comes from living life fully, but it's about you living your authentic life, which may include skateboarding in the ramp park thingies or not. So we inhale as we straighten that leg. And we exhale down. So thinking that question now, what am I doing to fully live my life? Am I fully living my life? Or am I treating my life like a waiting room? Breathing. Gliding that left hip down. Another breath. And then hands either side of the foot. Come on down. Walking your dog out. This is the ultimate mindfulness practice. Being mindful of our coming death. Breathing here in your dog. And your choice if you want to chill in dog or come into child's pose or flow with me through a vinyasa. Breathing in your Dandasana for a few breaths. Feeling the strength build in the belly. And then come on down, Ashtanga Pranam or Chaturanga. Y'all know I'm not much into Chaturanga. Hands under shoulders. Inhale left. And exhale down in your Bujangasana. And up. Your choice whether you want to bring a bit more height and push into the hands, or if you want to have it be a baby Bujangasana and have it be all back body. Your choice. But if you're lifting up with your arms, keep those elbows bent. We exhale as we come down. And we inhale as we lift up. Breathing. Wringing out the kidneys and the adrenals. Feeling that beautiful back body squeeze. And then plug those hands in. Come on back into your Anahatasana. Breathing here. And then curl the toes, lift the hips, down dog. Let's do the other side. We're going to try not to kick the bookshelf. Float that left leg back and up if you like your three-legged dog. Remembering this is your practice. Step that foot forward. Thinking again about our question. Do you appreciate this life? Do you appreciate this life? Are you tasting the sweetness of this life? Breathing here in your Vera 1. And then we step off onto that left foot, coming into our Vera 3. Good focus gaze. And then straighten that leg, bend that leg, and lift it up, Vera 1. And lengthen it out, Virabhadrasana 2. Coming into your Vera 2. And straighten that leg and glide into your Trikonasana. Little bit of a micro bend in that front leg so we're not hyperextending the knee. Tuck that left hip underneath. Breathing here in your triangle. And float it up. Vera 2. Straighten that leg, glide up. Hands touch overhead, and come on down. Floating up. Nice Ujjayi constriction. Last one. Breathing here in your Vera 2. And then hands either side of the foot, come on down. What are you doing to help others? So again, it's your choice to rest in down dog, come into child's pose, or flow with me through a vinyasa. Do you appreciate this life? What are you doing to help others? What will give your life meaning and the lives of others meaning in light of life's briefness? Come on down, Ashtanga Pranam or Chaturanga. And then scooch those legs back, hands under shoulders, lift it up. If you've got an up dog practice and you prefer to lift up into up dog, go for it. What will give your life meaning in the light of life's briefness? Right? This is exactly these kinds of questions. When we contemplate death, we can transform our lives. Stop using life as a waiting room. Exhaling down. And inhale, lift. And then come onto the elbows in your Sphinx pose. Tractioning the elbows back. Opening the heart forward. Shoulders down the back. Breathing here into the kidneys, into the adrenals, in your sphinx. Another breath. And then float, coming down onto the belly, float that left arm out to the side. So it's perpendicular to the long line of the body. And then roll over, being mindful if you have any shoulder issues. So my right hand is tented in front of my heart. This is kind of keeping me balanced. Right ball of the foot is on the earth. As we breathe into the pecs, breathe into the rotator cuffs. Another breath. And then come on down onto the belly. And let's do it on the other side. So the right arm reaches out. And you roll over onto the right side. Fingertips down. Stretching open. That shoulder. And then come on to the belly. Plug the hands in, curl the toes, lift the hips, down dog. Rises up, head hangs heavy. Float that right leg back and up, stretch it up, reach it up. Roll the foot on the ankle if that feels good. Cranking open into fire hydrant pose. And then swing that leg through. Coming into your Vira 1. Floating up. And root down into that right foot as you come up into your Vrikshasana. Remembering that this foot can be anywhere on the leg except the side of the knee. Arms reach up. Leg is out to the side. Feel yourself opening your heart to this countdown and asking yourself how. And I don't want to put this strain on ourselves because that can feel almost frenetic. The pressure of how do I make every second count? I mean, let's stay real, right? Breathing here, another breath, and step it back. Because that, I think, creates almost like a go big or go home mentality, which I personally don't think is good for us. Because we deserve to rest. We deserve to take time quiet, right? So let's not make this into something frenetic where we have to jam pack, stepping off onto that right foot. Coming into your balancing half moon, so the right hand goes down possibly onto a block, if that helps you with balance, okay, having your hand on a block, or comes down into the earth. Stacking that left hip over the right as you lift up. So this is about balance. Both our Ardha Chandrasana, what we're doing right here, but also our life, right? Living your life fully doesn't mean that you jam your bucket list in so that you're exhausted. Step it back, okay? Inhale it up. So let's not slip into that potential trap. And step off onto the right leg and bring the knee up. Catching the knee. Drop the tailbone down, shoulders down, nice tall spine. Another breath, and float it back. Warrior 1. Hands come down. Because you might be thinking like, okay, Laura, I know I'm not living my life fully. I know that. But I can't jam anything more into my life. Right? That might be your reaction. Breathing here in your down dog. Tailbone rises up, heels hang down. Ground your heels down. Again, your choice if you want to rest in down dog, rest in child's pose, or come through vinyasa. Come on down. Oh, Debbie and Diane, you're so welcome. Coming down, lift up into your Bujangasana. So if you're in that place where you're like, I know I'm not living fully, but I can't do more. I can't do more. Okay, then let's not have you do more. Let's have you do differently. Exhale it down. And inhale, lift, curl the toes, and come on up into your down dog. So what can we do? What can we do to have you start saying no to the things that don't serve you? Okay? And as I teach in my class, put that left leg back and up, stretch it up, reach it up. Breathing here, and step it forward. 30 minutes of purposeful activity, 30 minutes a week. 30 minutes a week makes us happier. So when it comes down to quote unquote living life fully, let's stay grounded in what that means. It doesn't mean that you have to sell your house, quit your job, move to whatever your dream destination is. Maybe you'll do that eventually, which would be brilliant. But, bit by bit, we can change our lives. Stepping off onto that left leg, coming into our Vrikshasana, our tree pose. Foot can be anywhere on the leg except the knee. Grow your branches. And feel yourself rooting down into balance. Rooting down. Into effort and rest. Rooting down into your authenticity, what that looks like, what your living your life fully looks like. Knowing that breath by breath, heartbeat by heartbeat, our lives are getting shorter. And step it back. Virabhadrasana 1. Breathing here. And then step off onto that left foot. Bring the right knee into the chest. Drop the tailbone down. Drop the shoulders down. Possibly fall over. I love this wall that's next to me. Another breath. And step it back. Mira 1. Sometimes that's our most important prop in our yoga practice, right? The wall. Breathing here. And then step off onto that left foot. Put your block strategically. And remember, you can have your block be pretty high if you need it, higher. And coming into your Ardha Chandrasana. Balancing half moon. Another breath. And bend that leg and step it back. Warrior 1. Opening the heart and hands come down. Walk your dog out. Settling one heel down and then the other. Tailbone rises up, head hangs heavy. Rolling the head on the neck. And let's come down into child's pose. Envisioning again your thread, this beautiful thread in this tapestry of life. And thinking about like when you pop up with your birth, you're popping up from the cosmic self, right? And then your thread cruises along your lifeline. And then at the death, you go down, exiting this tapestry from this body. Envisioning maybe the color of your thread. Another breath. Come on up and come on to the back body. If you're like me and you took off a sweatshirt or something, most of our effort is done, so you can throw your sweatshirt back on. If you're in a chilly environment, And bring those knees into the chest. So think about that thread, thinking about, what color thread, what luster, what do I want my thread, my life thread to look like? Swimming those knees around, rocking back and forth, massaging the lumbar spine. Soles of the feet come onto the earth. And windshield wiper those knees back and forth, looking in the opposite direction as you just wring out the body. And let's come into our reclining cobbler, our Supta Baddha Konasana. So if you have two blocks, I happen to have mine conveniently right here in my hands, I invite you to grab them because it's really nice to have some support under the knees when we come into our reclining cobbler. So what we do is we bring the soles of the feet together and we let the knees fall out. Grab your blocks so that this isn't an overly big stretch on the inner groins, okay? And I could feel I was doing something weird with my my lumbar spine. I was almost kind of like arching, like ah. So get your support, and it can be like couch cushions. It can be a blanket. You can get your supports under the legs, and then flatten out the sacrum. Arms hang heavy, and just breathe here in your reclining cobbler. Breathing, letting go. Letting go of the contemplation, letting go of the thinking mind, and just float down into this body. Now, if you're loving reclining cobbler, you can chill here. If you want to come into legs up the wall pose, you can grab your block and put it like this, so it's wide and flat underneath your body, between the waist and the tailbone. Okay, so it's right on the sacrum, so the sacrum has a lot of support. Arms reach alongside the body, palms are down. You can kind of roll the shoulders together, and you can pop those legs up. Now, if you're on the first 2 days of your cycle, or if you're pregnant, this is not recommended. Okay? Breathing here, Viparita Karani, legs up the wall pose. If you don't have a block, you can use a wall, which means your booty is going to be on the ground. Okay? And you're like a human L. Try to get your glutes all the way up to the edge of the wall. And just bring those legs up. This is an incredibly good pose. It's known as the pose that defies age and death. Oh my gosh, that's so funny that we're doing it in this contemplation. So, as we know from our contemplations, there's no defying death. But this pose supposedly is a good one for extending our lifespan. Breathing here into this inversion. And then bring those knees down if you'd like, knowing that we're going into our Shavasana. So if you're really enjoying legs up the wall pose and you want to hang out there longer, go for it. It's your practice. Breathing, allow yourself to just melt down into your corpse pose, Shavasana, letting everything go. So some thoughts from Rumi. Yesterday, Rumi shared, "Our death is our wedding with eternity." And Rumi writes, "Everyone is so afraid of death, but the real Sufis," because he was a Sufi philosopher, "just laugh. Nothing tyrannizes their hearts. What strikes the oyster shell does not damage the pearl." What strikes the oyster shell does not damage the pearl. Right? The oyster shell of our bodies containing Atman, or Jiva, the eternal self, the self that will return to the cosmic self, the quantum realm, or spirit, or source in the universe, the divine. What strikes the oyster shell does not damage the pearl. Another few breaths. And then as you're ready, bringing movement back into the body in a way that serves you and serves this practice, whatever that looks like, listening to the body. And then rolling over onto the right side. And carefully pressing yourself up and wrapping the arms around yourself, a gentle sway, or a rock. Sending yourself love, sending yourself compassion. Kindness, this heart of yours. This oyster shell, bringing the hands together, rubbing the hands at the heart. Taking a nice big inhale as we snuggle the base of the thumbs into the sternum. Nice big inhale as we om out together.